Good evening. Welcome to this late edition of Fox 54 News at 9. I'm Kenesha Dees. Dozens of Morgan County residents are pushing back against a development they say would ruin their property values and solitude in the surrounding area. And they're taking it further than social media. They're seeking help from the state legislature to stop the construction of a Bitcoin mining facility. If completed, it would be built here, right next to the unincorporated neighborhood along Union Road in Morgan County. Fox 54's Caleb Aguayo shows us why residents are demanding change in rural county zoning.
Imagine waking up and looking out over your back porch to find that, instead of the grassy fields you're used to, there's now a massive, noisy work site where your backyard once was. That's what dozens of residents along Union Road in Morgan County fear will happen. And the county commission says, even though it's their jurisdiction, they can't zone land to keep the construction from taking shape.
The county wanted to zone. The county has no home rule. We don't have authority. The legislators would have to give us authority to set up zoning. But, people in the county don't want zoning. I mean, even none of these residents that I've talked to about the data center that live on the road don't want zoning. They don't want anybody telling them what to do with their property. They just don't want a data center right in the middle of them. And that's very understandable.
Several residents tell me they moved out to the county for some peace and quiet, but they say a 10-acre facility built right where I'm standing would destroy that solitude by creating noise, light pollution, power lines, and traffic congestion.
I think that these companies are seeking out these locations because there's infrastructure here available, there's cheap land here available, and no regulation. So it's almost predatory to me.
Jenkins says the community is looking into any option available, but their next action is to get a temporary injunction in a lawsuit to stop the construction while state legislators make some policy changes for county residents across Alabama.
It really would be better if our state government would deal with this issue and pass some guidelines and ordinances that protects the citizens of the state of Alabama in these rural areas and in our neighborhoods. That's what we're seeking as a community is to be protected by our state, local, and county officials.
But until that happens, the residents along Union Road say they're looking for all the help they can get. In Morgan County, I'm Caleb Aguayo, Fox 54 News.
The name of the company and the construction timeline is still unclear, but residents say they fear the facility might come before they can do anything about it. Ominous clouds we see there. Looks like there's a little mist going on in Huntsville from earlier today. A beautiful shot still, but I don't know. It might be a sign of things to come over the holiday weekend. We have Juneteenth, Father's Day. The rain has definitely returned. Fox 54 weather impact meteorologist Emily Owen with the forecast. As you've seen, Emily, we've seen showers earlier today. Will we see more for tonight?
I think for the most part, we're going to start to dry out, but it looks like we could see isolated showers move through for some of us early tomorrow morning, but most of us expected to stay dry for the entire duration of your Friday until we see another round of rain come heading into this weekend. So for right now, across the Tennessee Valley, we are dry, but zooming things out so you can get a look at the bigger picture. This is what's left of what was Tropical Storm Arthur. It's moving all of its rain and thunderstorms into Georgia, so that is going to continue to exit the rest of the state of Alabama. We will continue to sit under a cloudy sky, though. We're sitting in the low 70s. It is still very humid outside. We're going to keep the humidity in the forecast through at least the weekend, I'm thinking. Temperatures right now are a little cooler, sitting in the low 70s all across the board, and we will remain quiet for this Thursday. Now, I mentioned earlier we're going to be seeing rain heading into this upcoming weekend, so I'll have the details on that in just a bit. Kenesha?
Yeah, Emily, we've learned tonight a Colbert County judge has denied a request to move the capital murder trial of Brian Martin, the man accused of killing Sheffield Police Sergeant Nick Reisner. Defense attorneys argued extensive publicity surrounding the case would prevent a fair trial, but the judge disagreed. Martin is charged in the October 2021 shooting that killed Reisner and wounded Lieutenant Max Dotson, as well as the murder of his former roommate, William Milback Jr. His trial is set to begin in August. Governor Kay Ivey has set the execution date for Jeremy Williams, the man convicted of kidnapping, raping, and murdering a 5-year-old in 2021. Williams is scheduled to be executed by lethal injection beginning just after midnight on August 13th. A Russell County jury convicted Williams on 4 counts of capital murder after prosecutors say he sexually assaulted and strangled the girl before leaving her body at an abandoned home in Phoenix City near the Georgia border. A judge later sentenced him to death on all counts. A Fort Payne man indicted by a grand jury today for murdering his wife. Ivan Lafferty was charged with capital murder in connection with his wife's death back in December. When police arrived to the home, his wife, Dominique Lafferty, was found unresponsive and later pronounced dead. His arraignment is scheduled for August 13th. The families of teenagers injured in a deadly police pursuit last September are pushing back against the city of Priceville's motion to be dismissed from the civil lawsuit. The family's attorneys filed a response to the city's effort to throw out 2 counts, one vicarious liability claim and one negligent hiring, training, and supervision claim. They argue the city cannot escape liability for how one of its officers conducted a high-speed chase. 3 of the 4 teenagers were injured in that crash. The 4th passenger, Tristan Hollis, was killed. Hollis's estate has filed a separate wrongful death lawsuit. An investigation now underway after a man died while in custody at the Madison County Jail this morning. The sheriff's office says Jamarcus Frazier was exiting his cell around 5 a.m. for breakfast. After getting his food tray, Frazier collapsed after what officials described as a sudden cardiac event. Medical personnel began life-saving measures and Frazier was taken to Huntsville Hospital, where he was pronounced dead, authorities say. Frazier was in jail on charges of drug trafficking and theft of property. His remains have been transferred to the Alabama Department of Forensic Sciences for an autopsy. A Huntsville-based defense contractor ordered to pay more than $500,000 to settle allegations that it failed to meet cybersecurity requirements tied to Navy contracts. The Department of Justice says the settlement comes after LogZone Inc. was accused of submitting claims for payment while not complying with required cybersecurity standards on 2 Navy contracts designed to protect sensitive defense information from potential threats. The Justice Department says they'll continue to investigate potential violations of these cybersecurity requirements to protect critical information from external threats. Multiple Huntsville City Council members are officially announcing their re-election campaigns today, including the city's longest-serving council member, Bill Kling. Kling has represented District 4 since 1988 and says he'll continue focusing on roads, parks, schools, and public safety. Kling will face at least 2 challengers in this year's election, Attorney Will Pallant, who's campaigning on managing Huntsville's growth and improving quality of life for residents, and Strong Towns Huntsville founder Nick Freevold, who's campaigning on sustainable development and community engagement.
I do feel like that it is going to be done in a very humane way.
It could be goodbye geese for a different HOA in Madison, and it's on the heels of another community reversing its decision to euthanize the ones in their community. Fox 54's Gabe Glassman explains. And we'll stay in Madison. Short-term rental worries for one community who believes it'll impact their way of life. And now there's a petition. Fox 54's Valentina Chalala hears from one of them. Lawmakers advancing a bill that would be a game changer for college athletes and how they're paid. We'll take you to Capitol Hill with who's supporting what. A growing debate over short-term rentals is putting some Madison neighborhoods in the spotlight. Residents say they're worried about how expanding short-term rentals could change their communities, while the city council prepares to take up the issue in a vote that could impact who can operate them moving forward. A petition opposing investor-owned short-term rentals now has more than 350 signatures, with supporters urging city leaders to put more restrictions in place before Monday's vote. Fox 54's Valentina Chalala spoke with residents about what's at stake.
It's a question that's sparking big emotion. Who should live next door? Residents say short-term rentals could change the makeup of their neighborhoods, and they want their voices to be heard before the city puts it up to a vote. Petition organizer Eric Koenig says he started the effort after growing concerned about what he believes could happen if investor-owned short-term rentals expand into residential neighborhoods.
When you see homes on your block that is supposed to be for families, and when you see those start to be bought up by people with 3 and 4 and 5 homes and turned into full-time hotels, essentially, it's I guess frustrating to see that.
Some also worry about the impact on kids who play outside in their neighborhoods.
I don't want party going on. I don't want extra traffic. We've got kids up and down the street that don't need to go by short-term rentals. So we're just trying to maintain the quality of life in this nice little city of Madison.
Koenig also points to a city survey sent out earlier this year that he says showed about 75% of respondents oppose short-term rentals, though he says city leaders later questioned the size of the sample. Petition supporters also point to a Huntsville-style approach that would limit short-term rentals in certain residential areas.
We're not opposed to short-term rentals, but there's a place for them, and it is absolutely not in a single-family residential neighborhood.
Petition supporters say they're now focused on the upcoming council vote. With one council member abstaining from the vote, they say they need 3 council members to vote no to block the current proposal. In Madison, I'm Valentina Chalala, Fox 54 News.
Madison City Council is set to meet Monday, where many residents say they plan to address leaders directly before a vote is taken. Emily, a big holiday weekend ahead. Is rain going to put a damper on folks' plans?
Yeah, it looks like we could see some rain heading into the weekend, especially looking at Father's Day. I've got your full forecast coming up right after the break, so stay with us. Things are turning much quieter heading into the rest of this Thursday night. Realistically, we got about an hour and a half left of it, but we are not seeing any more rain right now across the Tennessee Valley. But zooming things out so you can get an idea of what is left of Arthur, it is still bringing lots of rain, even a tornado warning in portions of Florida right along that Gulf Coast. But other than that, we're going to be quiet for the Tennessee Valley for the rest of tonight from this system. In fact, I could confidently say that this system is completely out of our area. Temperatures in the low 70s here in the Huntsville metro will continue to sit under a mostly cloudy sky. Temperatures all across the board hanging out in the low 70s, 73 degrees right now in Pulaski. We're sitting at 72 in Coleman, 74 in Florence, 71 degrees right now in Albertville. Temperatures not expected to fall a whole lot between where we're sitting now and our forecasted overnight low. Some of us could dip down into the upper 60s. Most of us probably going to be staying in the low 70s. Now, notice heading into the 6 a.m. hour, we do have a small opportunity for a little bit of rain to develop. Now, not everywhere is going to be seeing rain. It's going to be very isolated in nature, but as we get ready for that Friday morning commute, for some of us could be dodging some raindrops heading out in the morning, so just be mindful of that. But most areas will be staying dry for Friday. So the rain percentage that I have that you'll see later on in the show is going to be coming for Friday morning. The rest of the day on Friday is going to be dry, and we'll start to see a break in those clouds. So sunshine is expected tomorrow as well. Mid-80s expected in Huntsville, 84 in Pulaski, 86 tomorrow in Florence. We're expected to reach right around 82 in Fort Payne. Now, heading into this weekend for the first half, temperatures looking to remain in the upper 80s. A few showers could be possible Saturday, but heading into Sunday, that's going to be our next best opportunity at seeing numerous rain showers, maybe even thunderstorms. So Saturday, I do think majority of the rain is going to stay off to our south, so our far southern counties in the Tennessee Valley will have a greater chance at seeing some rain showers, and we'll keep isolated showers in the forecast through the afternoon on Saturday. But Saturday night into early Sunday morning, we could see a little bit of rainfall as well. But Sunday, like I mentioned, is going to be the day that we see more widespread rainfall, especially heading into the afternoon and beyond for Sunday. So I would say Sunday around lunch into the afternoon, that's when you want to pay attention to the radar and make sure that you are watching out for any rain that could be headed your way. Now, rain chances increase a little bit heading into Monday of next week, but after Monday of next week, we really start to drop off, and then by about this time next week, we're only going to be looking at about a 20% chance for rain. Temperature is going to be remaining warm, especially heading into this upcoming weekend. We'll stay in the upper 80s for the first half of next week. Rain chances remain elevated as well, but by about this time next week, high temperatures in the low 80s, small opportunities for rain.
Tennessee Valley celebrating freedom. Tomorrow, we've got a lineup of festivities for Juneteenth. Stay with us. Tomorrow may be Friday, but it's also a day from the history books. June 19th, 1865. Juneteenth is a holiday that celebrates when troops arrived in Galveston, Texas to inform more than 250,000 enslaved people they were free. The announcement was more than 2 years after the Emancipation Proclamation was ratified. Now, it's been 161 years since the announcement in Texas, and local communities continue to honor this holiday. From festivals to historic seminars, people are celebrating freedom and new beginnings. Well, are you looking for a way to celebrate Juneteenth tomorrow? Look no further, we've got you covered. Here in Huntsville, downtown Rocket City Freedom Fest at Big Spring Park will feature Black-owned businesses, live music, many food trucks, and family activities. The camp is also hosting a free all-ages celebration with some more music, spoken word performances, Juneteenth history presentations, local vendors, and food and drink specials. Athens will host its 6th annual Juneteenth Fest with live music and family activities, while the U.S. Space and Rocket Center offers a special program exploring freedom and resilience through space discovery. And in observance of the holiday, the city of Huntsville announced it will be closing multiple city offices. The city says Animal Services, Huntsville Transit, and Municipal Court will be closed tomorrow and will reopen Monday. Some city facilities will remain open, including the Getaway Skate Park and Kids Space, the Dr. Richard Shower Senior Splash Pad, and the Everybody Can Play Splash Pad. Essential police and fire personnel will also remain on duty throughout the holiday. And before you put your trash next to the curb tomorrow, you might want to check the holiday schedule. Several cities are changing when they collect your garbage and recyclables because of Juneteenth. Tomorrow's garbage and recycling pickup will be collected Saturday in Florence, and if your trash is normally collected tomorrow in Decatur, it will now be taken on Monday. For a full list of trash schedule changes, go to fox54.com. Well, a different flock of geese in danger of getting cold. Another controversy, this time at the Heritage Plantation. Fox 54's Gabe Glassman has this story. And Emily, I know we've been keeping our eye on the radar for rain.
Yeah, we are going to be seeing some more rain heading into this upcoming weekend. Coming up after the break, I'll have the details and tell you everything you need to know heading into this holiday weekend.
Welcome back. The Edgewater geese may have been spared, but another flock now in danger. The Heritage Plantation HOA says they've used non-lethal attempts to manage the flock for years, and now they've been left with no other choice. In a statement to Fox 54, the community says they've, quote, invested more than $25,000 in strategies such as coyote decoys, laser reflective light systems, shoreline fencing, and even the introduction of swans multiple times, end quote. Fox 54's Gabe Glassman has more on this decision and why it's stirring controversy within the community.
The Heritage Plantation Homeowners Association is deciding to euthanize local Canada geese in its community. The HOA board cites health and safety concerns. In a statement to Fox 54, the HOA tells us despite our best efforts, the situation has escalated from a property nuisance to a severe health and safety crisis. The current population exceeds 500 geese, which is 5 times the safe ecological threshold recommended by the USDA for a community of our property size. This decision bringing controversy to the community. One resident who wishes to remain anonymous doesn't agree with the controversial decision.
I hope they reverse the decision. I think it's a wrong decision. I understand that it is a health problem. I understand that they are a risk. It is a concern and it is something that we need to address, but I don't think we need to address it by killing them.
Another anonymous resident agrees it's a controversial outcome, but believes the HOA did their due diligence.
I do feel like it has been investigated and that it is going to be done in a very humane way. And I do feel like the overpopulation is having a very negative impact on the ecosystem. I'm a runner and I take my dog running, and we very much enjoy looking at the geese and watching them, and we also are distracted by the droppings.
Residents we heard from are also concerned about this being a recurring issue, even after the geese are potentially euthanized. The Heritage Plantation HOA says it will continue to focus on non-lethal mitigation efforts moving forward to prevent any future overpopulation. In Madison, Gabe Glassman, Fox 54 News.
Community members are now organizing a protest against the HOA's decision Saturday at 1 p.m. For more on the HOA's statement and details on the protests, go to fox54.com. And we'll stay outside in Madison. Cloudy sky above, not much sunshine today, and it looks like a sign of the times, perhaps some rain coming in for the rest of this week. We find out from Fox 54 Weather Impact meteorologist Emily Owen. We actually did see some rain return, Emily. Not too much, at least for tonight.
Yeah, that's exactly right. The most part of the rain is off to our east. So here in the Tennessee Valley, we are drying out, but we could see a few isolated showers heading into that Friday morning commute for some of us across the area. But for right now, we're quiet and we're dry, especially here in the Huntsville Metro. We're sitting in the low 70s. We will continue to sit under a cloudy sky, and that will be the case starting off your Friday, but some sunshine is in the forecast for tomorrow. Temperatures right now sitting in the low 70s all across the board. 73 in Athens, sitting at 73 right now in Coleman. Also seeing 73 degrees in Scottsboro. Temperatures are expected to stay in the low 70s. Some of us could drop as far as the upper 60s for the overnight tonight, and we'll keep a cloudy sky in the forecast. Now, I mentioned earlier we could see a little bit of rain tomorrow morning, so coming up later on in the show, I'm going to time that out for you hour by hour on our Futurecast and tell you what you can expect to see heading into this upcoming holiday weekend. Kanisha?
Yeah, we'll stay with weather. More than 7 million Americans are under a threat for severe weather tonight. Here's a look at some flooding in Mobile. A rare level 4 high risk of flooding rainfall was issued by the Weather Prediction Center for parts of Florida, Mississippi, Louisiana, and parts of central and southern Alabama today. These dangerous storms have already caused widespread flooding in southern Alabama. Parts of Louisiana hit the hardest, crews blocking off many roads in the state you can see there. And according to the National Weather Service, at least 15 homes flooded after over a foot of rain fell. Residents say they haven't seen flooding like this for decades.
By the house, the water's pretty high up there. I know it's at least 3 to 4 inches over there by the house. Yeah, I had to make some drainage out there, and it started flowing a little bit, but yeah, it's last time I saw it about 20 years ago.
Wow. Well, National Weather Service in New Orleans declared a flood emergency this afternoon and urges people to evacuate immediately after a dam broke just north of the city. Plans for the Crossroads of the Tennessee Valley project in Decatur could bring a regional sports complex to about 125 acres along Highway 20 near the I-65 interchange. The development would include sports fields, hotels, retail spaces, and entertainment options designed to attract visitors from across the Southeast. But State Representative Parker Moore says there are still many steps to work through before plans are finalized.
There's still some negotiations and some things in the bond market that need to be looked at to figure out ways that we can enhance some access points to create more openness to allow for that growth to happen. And I think some of those things are going to wind up coming down the pike.
Moore says those discussions could help determine how the project moves forward and what improvements may be needed to support future growth in the area. See more of our discussion with Parker Moore. You can find the full interview on the Fox 54 app. Just scan the QR code you see here, download on your TV, watch for free. The Port of Mobile and the Alabama Port Authority are looking to make some sweeping changes across the state, which could have some significant financial impacts for millions, including right here in North Alabama. Those changes include more investment into shipping imports and exports across Alabama, developments to the seaport to reduce shipping congestion, and new railways to deliver goods. The Port Authority's director, Doug Otto, describes what they're planning for North Alabama as part of that expansion.
Port of Mobile is the gateway, right? That's where the goods come and go. We're connected internationally through the gateway, but then how do we get those logistics pipelines to other parts of the state? And so we're building a intermodal rail facility in Montgomery right now, and we're looking at a second intermodal facility in North Alabama to serve this area as well.
The idea still in the early stages of consideration, so it's not yet clear when or where the rail line could go. Today marks a giant leap for women in space exploration Astronaut Sally Ride became the first American woman to travel into space when Space Shuttle Challenger lifted off on the STS-7 mission back in 1983. Ride was just 32 years old, making her the youngest astronaut ever at the time and one of the first women selected for NASA's astronaut program. Ride completed 2 space missions before moving on to inspire generations through science, education, and advocacy. Her historic flight remains a milestone in the United States race to space. And while our eyes are on the sky, Emily, lots happening this weekend. Juneteenth, Father's Day. I hear rain could be a factor.
Yeah, we could see some rain heading into this upcoming weekend, and we could even see some rain early tomorrow morning for that Friday commute. I'll have the details coming up right after the break. Well, we saw lots of rain earlier today across the Tennessee Valley, but we are nice and dry, and I'm expecting us to stay that way for what's left of this Thursday night. But zooming things out, you can see just exactly where the remains of Arthur is currently at, and really it's just a whole lot of rain, maybe even a few severe thunderstorms in some locations of southern Georgia. But as for us here in Alabama, especially the Tennessee Valley, we're going to remain quiet for the rest of this Thursday and even into Friday for much of us. Temperatures right now in the low 70s, 74 degrees here in Huntsville, 73 right now in Coleman, seeing 73 Pulaski, Athens, Decatur, 72 in Russellville. Also sitting at 72 right now in Albertville. Temperatures not expected to move much really between where we're at now and our forecasted overnight low. We're expected to stay in the low 70s. Some of us could reach the upper 60s for the overnight tonight. And heading into early tomorrow morning, we could also be dealing with a few light rain showers for that Friday morning commute. Now, this is going to be very isolated in nature, so not everywhere expected to see rain tomorrow, but the rain chance that I have for tomorrow is going to be coming tomorrow morning. So by the later half of the morning, so looking at the 10 o'clock hour into lunchtime, any rain that we are going to see is going to be completely out of the way. Those clouds are going to start to break as well, and we'll see some sunshine for the rest of our Fridays. So temperature is going to warm into the mid and upper 80s for some. Some of us could stay in the low 80s. Fort Payne expected to see right around 82 for the high temperature tomorrow, mid 80s here in Huntsville, 86 expected tomorrow in Florence, and we'll be seeing partly sunshine, I would say, beginning around lunch and for the rest of the day. So heading into this upcoming weekend, upper 80s for Saturday, maybe a few showers expected Saturday, but heading into Sunday, that's going to be our next shot at seeing numerous rain showers, maybe even a few thunderstorms. So let's go ahead and time it up. Heading into Saturday afternoon, the rain chance that we see, that's where it's going to happen. It's the afternoon. So we're not going to start the day off seeing rain, and it's not going to be rain during the entire day on Saturday. It's mainly during the time frame of the afternoon, maybe a few late showers Saturday night, but will be dry starting off your Sunday. And then Sunday, we'll see another round of rain and maybe even a few thunderstorms move through. So beginning in the later half of the morning and beyond on Sunday, expect to see rain move across the Tennessee Valley. So rain chances for the next 7 days after Sunday. We see one more day of widespread rain on Monday, and then rain chances will gradually begin to drop off by about this time next week, only looking at about a 20% chance for rain. So heading into this upcoming weekend, we're going to remain warm, upper 80s. Rain chances increase, especially heading into Sunday. We'll keep high rain chances in the forecast on Monday, and then after Monday, rain chances start to taper off a little bit, and then by about this time next week, we'll be looking at the low 80s. Small opportunity for a few showers.
A pivotal moment on Capitol Hill. The Senate sets its eyes on establishing how collegiate athletes get paid. We hear from lawmakers. Stay with us. This was a potentially momentous day for the future of college sports in this country. The Senate is looking at legislation affecting name, image, and likeness programs, athlete compensation, and transfers. Fox News correspondent Chad Pergram reports from Capitol Hill.
A congressional Hail Mary to potentially save intercollegiate athletics.
College sports is in crisis.
There's a sense of urgency in that room. You could feel it. Right? You've got to do something rapidly.
A Senate panel approving a bipartisan game plan to fundamentally change college sports.
We have put something on the table that's going to bring more certainty and predictability to the system.
The bill establishes a nationwide NIL payout framework. Inaction means moneyed major programs outbid smaller schools, perhaps even for a future NFL MVP.
I'm worried that we'll never see a Josh Allen again at the University of Wyoming.
The bill also restricts athletes to one transfer over 5 years without penalty.
Well, now we have this unbelievable number of players that get in a portal every year, and we have nothing to control agents.
A former Stanford tight end and current senator opposes the bill.
I've seen decade after decade how the NCAA has screwed athletes. And so we need to make sure there's firm athletic protections and not trust the NCAA to do it.
And a former Auburn football coach, now senator, christened the bill Obamacare for Sports.
We cannot run college sports. Congress should not decide how much money student athletes can earn.
There's concern the bill could undercut broadcasters and would complicate viewing.
The fans get hurt because all the content is behind a paywall.
The Big Ten and SEC never endorsed the bill. There's criticism that private equity hopes to pool broadcast rights. That alters the focus from safeguarding those who play the game. On Capitol Hill, Chad Pergram, Fox News.
All right, we're going to talk about a little World Cup next as the U.S. soccer team. They're in Seattle and they're getting ready for their next contest against Australia. I've got your previews on the other side of the break. Hey everybody, thanks for staying up late with us. The World Cup is back in Seattle on Friday as Team USA is putting together their final game plan for the matchup against Australia. Bridget Chavez from our sister station King 5 has more on Team USA.
The World Cup is back in Seattle on Friday. The U.S. men's national team is already here, getting ready for a huge matchup against Australia. The team practiced at the University of Washington Thursday morning as excitement continues to build all around the Emerald City. Fans sporting USA and Australia jerseys are flooding the streets, bars, and restaurants. Ticket prices for this matchup is the most expensive by far in Seattle. One seat inside will set you back about $2,000. For local soccer fans, this is the kind of moment they've been waiting years to see. Former Seattle Sounder and U.S. men's national team captain Casey Keller says this is the kind of stage Seattle was made for.
I really hope the U.S. are able to build off of that first game, have a good solid performance, get a good solid result here, because not to disparage the LA crowd, but it was an LA crowd. This is going to be a true, I think, soccer crowd, so I'm excited about that.
Keller says that energy is what sets Seattle apart, a city where soccer isn't just showing up for the World Cup, it's been part of the culture for decades. In Seattle, I'm Bridget Chavez.
All right, thanks so much, Bridget. The biggest question around USA soccer right now, will Christian Pulisic play on Friday? Right now, it's still to be determined if he will suit up for the game on Friday after suffering that calf injury. Teammate Weston McKennie says the squad understands that they have to step up their game with or without Pulisic in the mix.
I think we all fit in well with each other. I think, he chose a roster where he can literally plug in players wherever he needs to plug in. We have 26 amazing guys and 26 players that are willing to fight and give everything for the team and for the badge that they're representing.
All right, 2 p.m. locally is the kickoff for this game between USA and Australia. The only place to see it is right here on Fox 54. All right, here's a look at your World Cup standings as of 11 p.m. this evening. Of course, these standings are brought to you by Nissan. Czech in South Africa, they battled to a 1-1 draw today, while Switzerland earned 3 points with their victory this afternoon. Let's take a sports media timeout. Coming up next, former Alabama standout Mark Ingram. He was in the Crescent City today for a very special event. We've got more on that next on Fox 54. Welcome back, everyone. Alabama's non-conference slate for men's basketball is stacked. This year, the Tide will face the likes of St. John, Houston, Seton Hall, Miami, and Baylor in non-conference action alone. And as of this morning, you can add another Big Ten power to that slate. The Crimson Tide and the University of Iowa have agreed to a 2-year deal, with the first game taking place on December the 21st in Des Moines. The Tide and Hawkeyes have only played twice, with the last matchup coming all the way back in 2010. Now, under head head coach Nate Oates, Alabama has never shied away from strong non-conference competition. And according to current SEC network analyst Richard Hendricks, you expect to see more games like this because Oates has that new long-term deal.
Well, I think it's a great decision for Alabama to, try to retain Nate Oates. He's been one of the hottest coaches, the most successful coaches, not only in the SEC, but in the nation. And he's done a tremendous job of taking Alabama basketball to new heights. If they can continue to go into the trajectory in which they can go in, then I think he can get back to a Final Four. And you never know, maybe even win a national championship.
Keeping things Alabama related, Mark Ingram is now a Saints Hall of Famer. The winner of the 2009 Heisman Trophy was inducted to the team's Hall of Fame this morning. He spent 10 seasons in the Crescent City after being a first-round selection during the 2011 NFL Draft. Now, Ingram rushed for more than 6,500 yards and scored 52 touchdowns on the ground while hauling in 1,800 yards and 5 receiving touchdowns. He was a 3-time Pro Bowler while wearing the black and gold.
Means so much to me because I developed so much as a man during my time here. Obviously, football is great, but the relationships I built in this building, the relationships I built in this city, being in the community, those things will last a lifetime. They last forever. And I'm thankful to be a part of such a city that embraced me and welcomed me and loved on me. And still to this day, I walk through the airport, I'm getting love. Go eat food, I'm getting love. The black and gold bleeds forever.
Congratulations to Mark Ingram on that achievement. That'll do it for you, Fox 54 Sports, in a late edition of the 9 o'clock news. Get ready, a late edition of the 10 o'clock news is coming up after the break.
Coming up on Fox 54 News.
We can see some rain heading into early tomorrow morning, but the greatest chance for rain next looks to come this weekend. I'll have the details coming up in just a bit.
All the top stories, including a growing debate in Madison over short-term rentals, as some residents urge city council members to restrict investor-owned properties in neighborhoods across the city. We'll have the latest on all the area's road closures and delays so you can get to work fast and on time in the morning. Everything you need to know going into tomorrow, including Juneteenth events happening across North Alabama and where you can go to celebrate freedom, history, and community. And we'll verify your most burning questions tonight. Can a company build data centers wherever they want if it's in an unincorporated county land? We'll have all this and more in your Fox 54 News at 10, which starts right now.
Well, our radar is much different than what we saw for much of the day today across the Tennessee Valley. We're nice and dry out there, and it looks like we're going to stay that way for most of us until we get into Saturday. So looking at the bigger picture right now, you can see what's left of Arthur making its way to the eastern side of the United States. Then it will go back out into the ocean. But as for us here, we are done with this system, so we're no longer going to be affected by this across the Tennessee Valley. Temperatures right now are still pretty warm out there. Once you factor in the humidity, it just doesn't feel the best out there. Humidity values are really high, and they'll stay that way heading into the next couple of days, probably making it feel a little warmer than the actual air temperature. We're sitting at 73 right now in Huntsville, 73 in Coleman. Temperatures not going to fluctuate much between now and our overnight low. Now, I mentioned earlier we got some rain heading into the weekends coming up later on in the show. I'm going to time that out for you hour by hour on our Futurecast. Kanisha.
Welcome to your traffic forecast. I'll be breaking down all the latest road closures, traffic alerts, and projects every day so you can get to where you're going on time. Heads up for Madison residents, if you live on Dublin Circle, resurfacing work now underway. Crews began the 2-day project earlier today and will pick up where they left off tomorrow. Officials are asking residents to remove vehicles from the road and use caution when driving through the area. And another resurfacing project will start Monday on Martin Road between Rideout and Dodd Roads. At least one lane will remain open at all times. Crews will be working weekdays from around 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. The project expected to last about 2 weeks, so plan for possible delays and increased traffic. For all the latest road closures and work announcements, go to fox54.com. A growing debate over short-term rentals is putting some Madison neighborhoods in the spotlight. Residents say they're worried about how expanding short-term rentals could change their communities, while the city council prepares to take up the issue in a vote that could impact who can operate them moving forward. A petition opposing investor-owned short-term rentals now has more than 350 signatures, with supporters urging city leaders to put more restrictions in place before Monday's vote. Fox 54's Valentina Chalala spoke with residents about what's at stake.
It's a question that's sparking big emotion. Who should live next door? Residents say short-term rentals could change the makeup of their neighborhoods, and they want their voices to be heard before the city puts it up to a vote. Petition organizer Eric Koenig says he started the effort after growing concerned about what he believes could happen if investor-owned short-term rentals expand into residential neighborhoods.
When you see homes on your block that is supposed to be for families, and when you see those start to be bought up by people with 3 and 4 and 5 homes and turned into full-time hotels, essentially, it's I guess frustrating to see that.
Some also worry about the impact on kids who play outside in their neighborhoods.
I don't want party going on. I don't want extra traffic. We've got kids up and down the street that don't need to go by short-term rentals. So we're just trying to maintain the quality of life in this nice little city of Madison.
Koenig also points to a city survey sent out earlier this year that he says showed about 75% of respondents oppose short-term rentals, though he says city leaders later questioned the size of the sample. Petition supporters also point to a Huntsville-style approach that would limit short-term rentals in certain residential areas.
We're not opposed to short-term rentals, but there's a place for them, and it is absolutely not in a single-family residential neighborhood.
Petition supporters say they're now focused on the upcoming council vote. With one council member abstaining from the vote, they say they need 3 council members to vote no to block the current proposal. In Madison, I'm Valentina Chalala, Fox 54 News.
Madison City Council is set to meet Monday, where many residents say they plan to address leaders directly before a vote is taken. Yeah, in less than an hour, it'll be Friday, but it's also a day from the history books. June 19th, 1865. Juneteenth is a holiday that celebrates when troops arrived in Galveston, Texas to inform more than 250,000 enslaved people they were free. The announcement was made more than 2 years after the Emancipation Proclamation was ratified. Now, it's been 161 years since the announcement in Texas, and local communities continue to honor this holiday. From festivals to historic seminars, people are celebrating freedom and new beginnings. And if you're looking for a way to celebrate Juneteenth, look no further. We've got you covered. Here in Huntsville, downtown Rocket City Freedom Fest at Big Spring Park will feature Black-owned businesses, live music, many food trucks, and family activities. The camp is also hosting a free all-ages celebration with some more music, spoken word performances, Juneteenth history presentations, local vendors, and food and drink specials. A lot in store. Then Athens will host its 6th annual Juneteenth Fest with live music and family activities, while the U.S. Space and Rocket Center offers a special program exploring freedom and resilience through space discovery. And in observance of the holiday, the city of Huntsville announced it will be closing multiple city offices. The city says Animal Services, Huntsville Transit, and Municipal Court will be closed tomorrow and will reopen Monday. Some city facilities will remain open, including Getaway Skate Park and Kids Space, the Dr. Richard Showers Senior Splash Pad, and the Everybody Can Play Splash Pad. Essential police and fire personnel will also remain on duty throughout the holiday. And before you put your trash next to the curb tomorrow, you might want to check the holiday schedule. Several cities are changing when they collect your garbage and recyclables because of Juneteenth. Tomorrow's garbage and recycling pickup will be collected Saturday in Florence, and if your trash is normally collected tomorrow in Decatur, it will now be taken up Monday. For a full list of trash schedule changes, go to fox54.com. Emily, are we expecting rain?
Yeah, just when we thought we were done with the rain, we've got more in the forecast heading into this weekend. I'll have the details in just a bit. Kanisha.
Yeah, plans for a potential Bitcoin mining facility in Morgan County is getting some backlash from residents. But can a company have the green light to build outside of city limits? We verify.
Finally, we're starting to see some drier weather across the Tennessee Valley after all of the rain that we experienced today from what used to be Tropical Storm Arthur. So we will remain quiet for what's left of this Thursday, so just a little over 30 minutes. And it looks like we'll be staying quiet for much of your Friday as well. So here's a look at the bigger picture of where the remnants of Arthur currently sits, and it's basically over the southern half of the state of Alabama and on into Georgia. We'll continue to move eastward back out into the ocean. So for us here in the Tennessee Valley, Arthur no longer expected to pose a threat anymore. Temperatures right now in the low 70s. We're sitting at 73 here in Huntsville, 72 in Coleman, 72 right now in Russellville, also sitting at 72 in Fort Payne. Temperatures not expected to fall much between where we're sitting now and forecasted overnight lows, which are expected to stay in the low 70s. Some of us could fall into the upper 60s. Now, we could see a few showers heading into early tomorrow morning, but I'll get to that in just a bit. Right now, we will continue to sit under a mostly cloudy sky, and that's looking like we'll start your Friday. Seeing mostly clouds, but some of us could be dodging some rain showers early tomorrow morning for that Friday morning commute. But majority of us going to be staying dry for the entire day for your Friday. But of course, heading into this upcoming weekend, that will change. Now, we will see some sunshine eventually tomorrow, and it looks like that's going to be coming around lunchtime and will last through the rest of our Friday. So for tomorrow, high temperatures warming into the mid 80s, upper 80s in some locations, while the rest of us stay in the low 80s. We're expected to reach the mid 80s here in Huntsville. Heading into this weekend, temperatures remain warm in the upper 80s. We'll see some rain both days, but Sunday looks to be the highest rain opportunity for this weekend. So maybe a few showers move through Saturday afternoon, but the majority of the rain looks like it's going to be staying farther towards the south of the Tennessee Valley, but still going to be dealing with maybe some hit or miss rain showers. But like I said, heading into Sunday, that's when we're expected to see widespread rainfall and a few thunderstorms move through. So I would say anytime Sunday around lunch and beyond, expect to see rain at some point, and then we'll start to dry out late Sunday night, early Monday morning before we see another round of rain move through on Monday. Monday, we've got about an 80% chance for rain, but after we get through with Monday, those rain chances really going to start to drop off, and by about this time next week, we'll be looking at about a 20% chance for rain. So temperature is going to remain warm for the next 7 days, trending a little below average, believe it or not. Average high right around 90 for this time of the year. We're going to keep scattered showers and thunderstorms in the forecast as well. Kenesha?
Yeah, coming up, big developments for data centers, a trend in the Tennessee Valley, but not everyone is on board. Who has the authority to allow them in unincorporated communities? We verify.
And we're heading into a holiday weekend. You might want to be spending it outdoors by the water. I've got your splash cast coming up in just a bit.
Data centers are big business in Alabama, but residents of rural Morgan County aren't the biggest fans. Right now, residents are pushing back against the company that wants to build a Bitcoin mining facility near their homes, but county leaders say they have no power to stop them. So can a company just build a data center wherever they want outside city limits? Do residents even get a say? We verify. For many people, moving outside city limits means quiet streets, more space, and a little more peace and privacy. But what happens when that peace and quiet is interrupted, not by neighbors or traffic, but by a massive data center popping up right next door? Can a company build a data center wherever they want if it's on unincorporated land? Let's verify. Our source tonight is Alabama Code Title 11. Here's what we found. In Alabama, cities and counties are not treated the same when it comes to zoning. Cities generally have broader authority to control what gets built within their limits because state law gives them more power over land use and development. Counties, on the other hand, are in a much tighter box. Under Alabama Code, counties can only do what the state legislature specifically allows them to do, and that includes zoning. So the answer depends on if the county has authority over zoning. If the county does have that power, a data center developer has to fit their project into an approved zone or go through a formal rezoning process. That process typically involves public hearings, recommendations from a planning board, and a final decision by county leaders who can approve or deny the request. If the county does not have authority over zoning, it gets more complicated. Without zoning, a county has almost no land use tool to block a data center in unincorporated areas. A developer would still need state environmental permits and utility hookups, but there's no zoning limitations, and that puts some residents in a difficult spot. The only way to get a say in what gets built next door is to have zoning, and zoning cuts both ways. It means the county gets a say in what developers build, but also in what residents can build on their own land. So we can verify whether a data center can build in unincorporated county land depends on whether your county has zoning authority. In Morgan County's case, they don't, so there's very little standing in the way. If you have something you want us to verify, text us at 256-382-2692.
Well, heading into this Father's Day weekend, it does come with some rain and a few thunderstorms if you're planning to head down to the Alabama Gulf Coast for this Father's Day weekend. Temperatures looking to remain warm in the upper 80s. Now, rain chances are going to be on the lower end of the scale, but we do still have that opportunity for rain and potentially a few thunderstorms for Friday, Saturday, and this upcoming Father's Day. Maybe you're planning to spend things on a lake here across the Tennessee Valley. Temperatures will be a little cooler in the lower 80s. Rain chances are going to be limited heading into tomorrow and Saturday. But once we get to Father's Day, those rain chances will start to increase. Could come with a few thunderstorms as well. Expect to see mostly cloudy sky for your Saturday. We'll start your day off tomorrow seeing mostly clouds, but as the day progresses, those clouds will gradually start to clear. Now, maybe you're planning to spend things, at home by the pool. Temperatures still going to be warm here across the Tennessee Valley as well. Upper 80s expected. We'll see 86 for tomorrow. That carries over into Saturday for this Father's Day weekend. Saturday looks to be the better of the 2 days once we get into Father's Day. Those rain chances really going to start to rise, about a 70 to maybe even 80% chance, depending where you're located across the Tennessee Valley. So expect to see rain at some point, maybe even a few thunderstorms. Temperature is going to remain on the warmer side. We're going to be looking at the upper 80s heading into the next couple of days.
All right, the U.S. men's soccer team has arrived in Seattle and they're ready for their next game against Australia. A final preview of that matchup is next. And welcome to sports, everyone. Mark Ingram is now a Saints Hall of Famer. The winner of the 2009 Heisman Trophy was inducted into the team's Hall of Fame this morning. He spent 10 seasons in the Crescent City after being selected as a first-round pick in 2011. He rushed for over 6,500 yards and scored 52 touchdowns on the ground, hauling in over 1,800 yards and 5 receiving touchdowns. Now, he was a 3-time Pro Bowler while wearing the black and gold, and he's always had mad respect for the city of New Orleans. Okay, the U.S. men's soccer team will shoot for a 2-0 start in group play as they take on Australia on Friday. Bridget Chavez from our sister station King 5, she's got more on the squad in the Pacific Northwest.
The World Cup is back in Seattle on Friday. The U.S. men's national team is already here, getting ready for a huge matchup against Australia. The team practiced at the University of Washington Thursday morning as excitement continues to build all around the Emerald City. Fans sporting USA and Australia jerseys are flooding the streets, bars, and restaurants. Ticket prices for this matchup is the most expensive by far in Seattle. One seat inside will set you back about $2,000. For local soccer fans, this is the kind of moment they've been waiting years to see. Former Seattle Sounder and U.S. men's national team captain Casey Keller says this is the kind of stage Seattle was made for.
I really hope the U.S. are able to build off of that first game, have a good solid performance, get a good solid result here, because not to disparage the LA crowd, but it was an LA crowd. This is going to be a true, I think, soccer crowd, so I'm excited about that.
Keller says that energy is what sets Seattle apart, a city where soccer isn't just showing up for the World Cup, it's been part of the culture for decades. In Seattle, I'm Bridget Chavez.
All right, it's a 12 p.m. kick on the West Coast, 2 p.m. locally. The only place you can watch USA versus Australia is right here on Fox 54. All right, everyone, that'll do it for your Fox 54 Sports Report on this late edition of Fox 54 News at 10. I'm Mo Carter. Let's go over to Emily, who actually has that forecast for USA and Australia. Emily.
Yeah, it's going to be nice. Plenty of sunshine. I know when we think of Seattle, we think of rain. That's not the case. Tomorrow, temperature is going to remain nice and mild in the upper 70s. Here closer to home, though, a look at the next 7 days. We're going to remain warm in the upper 80s for the most part. Rain chances stay in the forecast tomorrow. It looks like we'll squeeze out a dry day for most of us. Heading into this upcoming weekend, though, it looks like we'll be dealing with scattered showers and thunderstorms, especially heading into Father's Day. Rain chances stay in the forecast heading into next week. Kanisha?
Yeah, and if you want more from the Fox 54 Weather Impact team, be sure to check out the Fox 54 app. Just scan the code you see right there on your screen and watch for free. We do appreciate you all staying up late for us on this late edition of Fox 54 News. That's it for tonight, but we will see you again tomorrow.